What is up, everybody? This is Marshall Lee of DonkeyJawProjects.com. How you guys doing today? Guys and gals, how is everyone? Today we're going to do something a bit different, even though the last two episodes have been a bit different. Today we're doing a typical live stream where I'm going to show off a bunch of stuff and do some art and talk about a topic. But I'm just changing up the format a little bit. Today, we're going to get right into the topic and drawing right off the bat. We're going to start with that, let people filter in. And if people miss stuff, they can always go back to the beginning in the replay, which is not specifically what I intended. The reason why I want to do this is because I got a lot of interesting books to show off, and I feel like the topic that I talk about will be, first of all, it's about it's like three key kind of elements to making great comic book art. And so I'm going to talk about that and do a little art at the same time. And then as we're looking through all these other books, I'll be able to be like, hey, look, check this out. This is, this is something we talked about, that type of thing. So I just feel like that makes a lot of sense. So I'm also going to be really daring here, daring for me and paint live, which is kind of crazy because I don't really paint. So this is probably not going to go very well. And I see people in the chat. What's up, everybody? I am gonna get to the chat as soon as I'm done kind of doing this little beginning talk thing. But it's nice to see everybody here. Friendly visitors that I've seen here many a time. So if you have any questions or thoughts, concerns, whatever, feel free to say them in the chat and I will do my best to get to them. But today we're going to talk about some keys, and let me get this painting started. And really what I should do is probably, well, I've learned a lot about painting, stuff that I already knew, but I kind of reviewed it, but also new stuff and everything. And really what I should probably do is go ahead and try to do like a bit of like a under there's a thing called grounding, I guess, and where they kind of put a tone in the background, but I'm not going to do that because I didn't plan for that. So I'm really just going to be playing with values. We're not going to probably have a fully finished piece of art here. This is just me practicing, really. And I just recently got some gouache paints, which I've been wanting to play with for a long time, and we'll get into some things about that too. So this is me playing around with some gouache. We'll see how it goes. It's probably going to be a disaster. So, anyways, three keys to great comic book art. Okay, we're going to get into that. Let's see, where should I start here? I think I should start with the kind of yellow, and I'm working off of a reference. I got I'll talk about this later, but I got this book, this magazine about Katharine Hepburn, and I'm working off of just this black and white reference right here. It's very small. It's from apparently the 1934 movie Spitfire. I've never watched it. Just seeing that image makes me want to watch it. But I picked that because it has some, an interesting pose, some strong value structures going on. And so, yeah, we'll see how it all goes. So, anyways, and all right, so let's get into it. Let's see. I'm gonna just kind of do some funky color. Like this isn't gonna be the best. I already caveated this isn't gonna be the best. But so one thing that's kind of in this picture is that I feel like is a key to comic book storytelling visually, the visual aspect of it. I'm like afraid to put down the first strokes. I'm just going in with like plain yellow here, and I don't know why. I should add a little dab of this. That's too much of a dab. um, that turns into green, obviously, but anyways, we're gonna be doing this. Here we go. Um, so, um, body language, like you could see, like in this pose. I know you can't see it too well, but she's obviously like she's like maybe afraid of something slash ready to attack it as well, ready to defend where she's at or something, you know. And it's just you could see that in the body language. And the thing is with comic books, I feel like one of the big things is the acting of the characters, and there's stories with characters in it. And if, like myself and I'm sure many others, you would like to kind of get tell a good story. uh Personally, I like stories that are very much character based. And so you want to be able to observe people and do a lot of observational drawing as well. But also, like, you know, just kind of learn from, even from like movies and stuff, from acting that you see. Uh, and so there's a lot of things that can kind of help you with all this. Um, and I don't know all the ways really, but basically you want to convey emotions through your characters. You want to convey the story, the plot, like the weight of whatever situation you're in. You want to convey that um in your story. And so to do that, you need to do a lot of kind of observation of people around you, and just do a lot of drawing, practicing the art of people in different poses and stuff. And also just like body language, that people say, like, we say more, like I've heard it many times that we say more through our body language than we do with our actual words. And I think that's absolutely true. And um, it's so studying body language, I think, is a key thing. And I'd love to bring the example out, but I'm sure we'll see some. But like, again, Gary Hodges, his book, especially, I think of the second um, Dinosaurs versus Marsbots. Yeah, I'm still obsessed with that, by the way. Um, there's just so much body language. I mean, in all of them, there is, but like that's one where the body language, I feel, helps tell the story, you know, a tremendous amount. And you know, I want to get the shape of the face kind of right, because you mess that up and you kind of mess up the whole the whole image to a certain degree. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're just laying in shapes here. We're just doing basically what would be an underpainting, at this point. So, um, and this is like literally only my second time even trying to mess with gouache. I did something earlier this week too, and didn't come out so good. So, I'm failing in front of everybody, and that's okay. That's how I roll, I guess. So, anyways, I think body language is huge, and you can just tell a lot through a facial expression, through people's eyes. Now, eyes are something that I'm not too good at, with even noticing differences and stuff. But for me, it's the mouth is more expressive than the eyes for me personally. But that's just because I've had a habit in my life of looking at people's mouths rather than their eyes, and I don't know why. It's just what I did. um, growing up, and I've had a hard time kicking the habit. um, but anyways, I find a lot of expression through mouths, and really any part of the body can show a lot of expression. Um, so again, like gesture, um, and also like with comics, this I think this kind of comes into play is the camera angle. You can do a lot of figuring out the kind of mood, I should say conveying the mood through like a good camera angle. I think also the color and the value structure is also plays a huge important part. Um, even in whoops, see, making a mess. Even in the aspect of like uh just creating like a mood, and again in the aspect of the character acting, the body language. So to me, point number one of the ways that you can really, I feel like, up your game, with making comics is um through the body language. And I'm mentioning specific three because when you talk to people about let's see, what can we do here? I need to get some more of this yellow paint and really get into it with some of this green. But you know, when you think about the things that are important to know in illustration and comic books and things like that, uh I think some of the main things we think about that are important are less important than other aspects when it comes to the comic book art. And some of those things are, like I said, body language is the first one. The second one, I would say, and these aren't in a specific order, but clarity. I think clarity is huge, and I definitely get this, clarity idea from um, Scott McCloud's Understanding Comics. Very or Making Comics, whichever one. I mean, to me, they're both, they both are kind of one, almost one and the same, part of the same volume almost to a certain degree. Um, so, Scott McCloud put out that whole thing about like clarity, and it's not like he made it up. It's just that's something he derived from talking to many comic artists and being a comic book artist himself, and learning what are some of the key things. And one of the things that comes up over and over again is the clarity. And I think that's absolutely key because so many comics I've read and come to the point where I'm like, I don't know if I even understand what's happening right now, in the story. Like clarity of storytelling is huge. And if you can get down some of these three technique, or if you can really get some mastery in some of these specific techniques for drawing your comic, it's going to take you really far. More than, again, and I think I missed saying my point that to me, a lot of times people will focus and notice things about like anatomy or perspective and things like that, which those are important to learn and stuff for sure. But I feel like you can be bad at those things and or just not focus too much on those things and still have a great comic if you're getting other things right. So again, clarity, like just being able to tell a story in a way that people can understand. I mean, that's half the battle right there. um if GI Joe was teaching about how to make comics, they would say that's half the battle. I would think, in my opinion. So, you know, just getting clear storytelling can go very far, and I think that, unfortunately, that's lacking in a lot of comics. So you're gonna put yourself above a lot of people. Not that your point is to put yourself above people, but I'm just saying, like, you're gonna make a comic that's much better than a lot of things that are seen out there, if you get the clarity going. So what are some of the things that you want to focus on when you're trying to have clarity in your comic book? Well, some of those things would be like the flow, just like the flow of the story, like orchestrating the flow of the story in such a way that one logical point leads to the next logical point. You don't have scenes where um something is happening and people, it didn't make sense that this came after the last scene. And I've definitely, whoops, I'm hitting the microphone. I've definitely read books, a lot of stories where that kind of thing happens and it doesn't make sense. It's like, well, why are they? In fact, if you watched my episode with Corey Kerr last week, and hopefully you guys dug that. Oh, my microphone is like falling. No wonder I'm. Oh my gosh, I gotta like. There's never a good setup, no matter what you do. Sorry, I'm like adjusting this mic and hoping that it will. Oh, I'm like messing up the microphone as I go. Let me know if you guys hear me. I feel like I just messed everything up. I'm going to take it off of this mic. I'm going to switch mics and we're going to go with the camera mic. I'm sorry, but this audio is going to be not as good probably. It looks like it's still coming through, but I'm going to switch just cuz having this microphone in my face is not working so good. So, now we are on to the other microphone. And I'm going to push this one away and hope it doesn't fall and break. It's always a struggle. There we go. Technical difficulties. That's much better for painting anyways. So let me get back to the screen. I think you guys can hear me. It shows that you guys should be able to hear me. So what was I talking about? I was talking about clarity, and it sounds like almost like a boring topic. Clarity, like, oh yeah, clarity. Of course you got to be clear, but it's not. But people don't do it very well. So it's like we got to be better at that. Like, come on, I mean, when I read a comic book and I'm not sure what's going on, it's a problem. You know, it's a big problem. So, yeah, I think that's important. Another thing is like I talked about like the flow of story, but also like just transitions and stuff. Again, going from one scene to the other, but there's ways you can make transitions a little more seamless. One of them that I've seen people do that is pretty okay. Like it's an interesting way to go. I don't know if it's the way I'd go or not, but maybe I would, maybe I won't. Is kind of doing this thing where you hear the person, like you see like a word balloon of somebody speaking at the bottom, like right at the bottom of the page of that you're on, and it's actually from the next scene. And then you go into the next scene, and this is just one little technique. It won't always work. you know you got to use it kind of in the right way, but and then it kind of goes into the next scene. So that's like one way to transition. Another other ways would be like kind of using visual motifs and stuff. Just making sure the scene is complete. Like it's, you know, each scene has like a beginning, a middle, and an end. In a lot of ways. So, um, So you want to make sure it's like a complete scene, that you're coming in and going out, and it makes sense. It makes like a logical sense. So there's a lot more that can be said about all of these things. I'm just kind of doing a bit of an overview and giving a couple tips from things I've learned, and things I want to implement myself, because I haven't done so great at all this stuff either necessarily. Sometimes I do okay. Um, Another thing is making sure that there's a sense of where the people are, you know, and that's like, again, that's like, um, establishing shots, and you don't have to have big backgrounds in every single panel. In fact, I think I think that it's um almost not good to it's good to have like some panels that are just kind of a blank background, to be honest. If you get OCD with trying to put backgrounds in every panel, I actually think that's a bit of a detriment. But if that's what you want to do, go for it, make it happen. Every No rule is like hard and fast, really. So when it comes to this stuff, rules were meant to be broken, that type of thing. Um, so yeah, I don't know. There's kind of that stuff. I don't know. I'm definitely not doing great techniques. Some techniques are like not so great here what I'm doing, but oh well. So anyways, uh again, backgrounds, you can help have people have, like, there can be a sense of where people are when you get some good backgrounds in there. But you don't want to be obsessive with it. So I feel like that's a way to create clarity. I'm sure there's like a million other ways, to do that. I mean, just design in general, learning a lot of different illustration practices is going to help. Composition, which brings me to my next point. The third part of making great comics, and drawing great comics, specifically the art of drawing great comics, is in fact composition. Composition, I feel like, is huge. And when I say composition, I'm thinking of like the whole kind of design of the page, and such, stuff like that. And see, I'm trying to like figure out how to get, like, there's like interesting ways to with a limited palette to like bring in certain kind of colors and stuff. And this is me just trying when I don't know really what I'm doing. So, it's interesting for sure. But anyways, a lot of people use like a red, and I used a yellow instead. Maybe I should add some red to this, because that would probably be helpful. But it helps when you're doing this kind of thing to use a limited palette to keep your like colors kind of, to not get too overwhelmed with too many colors, basically. And for somebody who's newer and not so great at this, I'll take all the help I can get. So anyways, so composition, and I feel like design, man, like, is like, some people like really kill it on design with their comics. Again, I think of like Bill Sienkiewicz, or I mean, there's so many great designing, artists that design. I'm trying to think of some other people. Walt Simonson's really good at it. The Image guys talked about design a lot, and in some ways, that's part of why it was easy to like overlook at the time. For certain people, it was easy to overlook, the issues, the bad issues that they kind of had, with like anatomy and perspective, and things like that. But you know, um, I don't know. I just feel like sorry, I'm just trying to figure out exactly where I want to go with this. Um, that can bring you a long way, is the composition. So, different things you want to think about with composition is like the page layout, you know, um, and also the panel, the individual panels. So each those are two big aspects, to making comics is that kind of page layout and everything. And also the panel composition, and they're both you're kind of thinking of the same thing for both of them, but at the same time they're different. They're kind of a different beast in and of themselves. So it can feel kind of complicated, but that's where thumbnails come in, and this is where the magic of getting good composition really comes in, is spending some time on those thumbnails and maybe doing a few different passes, till you get the right thing that you're kind of looking for. And so I'd say a bunch of passes until you get it to where you want it, really, um, is kind of key. And then also, just learning about composition in general. There's a lot of different techniques that kind of people use. There's like the golden ratio, things like that. Definitely look that stuff up, learn about that stuff. But you don't have to be perfect. A lot of it does come with just a sense, of composition, things that you've liked. Look at movies and stuff. Do, again, observational drawing is like huge. Like, even with this, I feel like this picture, like, even though I'm not really doing it justice, there's some interesting composition things going on. And the way that the darker parts go through the page and stuff, or through the panel, like this would be a really cool comic book panel. And like there's some kind of tree branches over here, there's tree branches over here. And actually, funny enough, there's some things that are going wrong in this, where there's tangents, where this is kind of a tangent from the knee to the leg. This is a tangent right here, but this is how it's laid out. And then this stick, actually, like for me, I'm avoiding this tangent, but these branches that are more in the background are actually touching this branch, which is more in the foreground. There's a bunch of things where there's not perfect stuff, but a good artist, the better you get, you can learn how to push those things more in the background and stuff like that. And in the final painting, if I end up finishing this kind of thing, um, hopefully I would have thought about those things and come to an interesting solution. There's ways to push things in the background and foreground and things like that. So, with composition, there's just so many different things to think of. Contrast is a big one. Again, the value structure, like making sure you have, a good um, dark, like really dark air tones, and then like mid tones, and then lighter tones. If you can keep it to like three or four like levels of tones, keep it kind of simple, um that'll help you a lot. Also, another thing is big shapes. It's like with composition, and I heard this term recently. I checked out this class from this dude Vincent Nappy. I've talked about him before because he has like a free class, and then I like purchased one. And one of the things he talks about is there's this let's see if I don't know the name of the person, but let me see if I can find it real quick, because I just was looking at it. Okay, there's this quote: a puzzle, like composition is a puzzle for dumb guys. And apparently this guy Brent Watkinson, like an artist, came up with that, but it's a puzzle for dumb guys. So it's not like a super intricate puzzle, but it is, a puzzle nonetheless. Oh, I don't know what did I mix this specific thing for? Oh, maybe I was kind of doing something like this. I don't know. Again, this is literally just an underpainting. I'm just kind of playing with some stuff here. So I don't even probably plan on making this a full painting. It's just kind of studying, um, and getting used to even playing with gouache, really. So yeah, but again, like composite with the composition, like there's just so many different things that can kind of you can do, and you can lead the eye. Like in this composition, the eye is kind of led right to the lady, because this is the darkest part. Everything else is kind of light. Like it's better to show it with the actual reference. But like you can see, like she's got like the darkest and lightest areas, so she's right in the forefront. Everything else is a little bit more quiet, a little bit more subdued, even though there are darks and stuff. But again, even the bushes are kind of pointing to her. These ones are kind of pointing to her. This little tuft right there creates some balance to it. There's a bunch of things that are being said within the composition, and even like the fact that it's a tilting scene, and it looks like she's almost like falling off of a cliff or something. It shows the drama kind of what's going on and everything. So, there's just a lot that's going on, and when I get into showing off some of the books, which I'll do pretty soon, actually. um, we'll get into some of that too. That's why I wanted to like kind of do this part up front, so then we could kind of talk about that as we're looking through some of these books that I think are pretty neat. Um, so yeah, I don't know. That's kind of my little talk on the three things, just to get started, and we'll get to the chat in a minute here. And I think this is good enough for now. Like I'm not gonna do much better than this. What I realize is when I'm painting and stuff, it takes a lot more concentration than I can really do here while I'm doing a live stream. But so there's like the beginnings of like an under painting, possibly, if I end up pursuing it anymore. We'll see. But it was fun to play around. I think I might at least go in and put like the dark stuff a little bit at some point. I don't know, but we'll see how it all goes. Anyways, let's get to some cool books, and I will get to the chat as well here. And I'm curious what your guys' thoughts on good storytelling, good techniques, things that really make a huge difference when it comes to comics. Again, I feel like, you could get, the fundamentals down of drawing and get your, proportions perfect, and learn how to like draw a face with perfect proportions and this and that. But um I feel like some of these other things like body language, composition, and clarity, if you don't have those, then you're probably, first of all, you're losing a trick, like losing something that's very important. But if you do have those, I feel like you can kind of really tell your story so much better. Even if you're just drawing with like stick figures or something like that, or just a very limited, like rudimentary level of skill, or maybe you're just doing a certain style that it's not that you can't draw or whatever, or can't do well. It's just that you're limiting things down to a more expressive version of your style or something. There's so many different approaches. I'm going to put this away so I don't dip my hand or anything else in paint. um, I want to put it where it doesn't fall either because it's glass. All right, so let's get to the chat real quick, and we'll see what else is going on. So we got Evual, I'm sorry, I can't say that name, but thank you for coming by, even though you couldn't stay for the actual show. I hope you enjoy the show when you watch it on the replay. So yeah, thanks for coming by. Devante, what's going on? Hey, we got Daniel Goodwin. What's up, man? You're freaking killing it with your comic. I put a you guys, I put like a little story up on my Instagram. It's Marsh Makes Comics is the Instagram, so you can kind of find me there pretty easily. But I put, you know, a story up today, and man, Daniel Goodwin's like kicking butt when it comes to getting his comic out there and stuff. Like he does some pretty cool art, that's for sure. Um, and it's very busy, and there's a lot going on, but he does a pretty good job of like designing. He's actually really great at composition when it comes to putting all those intricate pieces together. So let's see if I can find his Instagram real quick because I did do a thingy, a story. So here we go. You can kind of see his stuff if it focuses. There you go. Let's see. Doghouse, Doghouse 50, Doghouse 059 is the name of the Instagram. Doghouse 059. And the comic is called Sundays in Space, I think. I think that's correct. So, anyways, yeah, check his stuff out. Um, really cool stuff. Gary Hodges, what's up, dude? Thanks for coming by. Jim Lujan, what is up? Hey, how you doing, sir? Adam Lore, hello, hello. Good to see you guys all here. Let's see. Mr. Vic, hello from Mexico. Hello, what's up? Sideburns is here. Good morning from down under. Actually, I can't remember. I think you're from Australia. If not, it's New Zealand. But I don't know if they call New Zealand down under, even though it's kind of still down under, right? Let's see. Funny Pictures Comics. Clarity of story is key for sure. Absolutely. And I think it's unfortunately missed sometimes. Sideburn says, G.I. Joe, knowing what the heck is going on is half the battle. Yes. uh, and let's see. Okay, Gary was confirming that he still heard me. So thank you for that. And other people, Iggy as well. Thank you. Let's see. Daniel Goodwin says, as a writer slash artist, I get more practice with the art because it takes longer. Maybe I should just write throwaway stories to get more reps in on telling a clear story. I think it's worth taking the time to develop the whole um, the whole thing. Section it out. I mean, I talked to Gary Hodges, on a recent video. Let's see. I'm gonna have to separate this out because I have huge stacks of things to show you guys here. So he takes a long time to write his script, and then it's like he sections it out, and then he takes a long time to do his art, and those are two very distinct sections. And I think that's a way to go, man. And it's worth it. If you have a story you want to tell, take the time to write a good story. And then if you and then do the same with the art, because the art and the story, not one aspect isn't more important than the other. They both work together, but you can still take the time to kind of make both good, I think. And I think that's worthwhile, especially at the level you're doing it, man. Like you got a lot of skill going on. So yeah, take the time to make the best of each part of it. I think personally. Let's see. Kirby was an awesome illustrator. Oh man, you're telling me that Kirby's the only person who I have a dedicated comic book box just for that one artist, that one creator. I mean, Kirby's the man. I love it. Vlad's here. What's up, Mike? Thanks for stopping by, man. I was, it's a good friend of mine right there. It's cool to see you there. Bitey thing. Hey, great points as always, Marsh. Thanks. I'm glad it was helpful. Daniel, thanks, Marsh. I'm still figuring it out. Yeah, we all are, right? Vlad says, yes, it looks dope, and maybe my painting or the thumbnail. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he's specifically talking about. Probably the painting, I guess. um, let's see. We'll definitely check that out. Looks great. Yeah. Can't remember. Oh, yeah, that looks dope. Okay, he's not talking about my painting. I was like wondering why would anybody say that about my painting? He's talking about the Daniel Goodwin stuff. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was really dope for sure. And there's free comics you can read too. Like you can download the free comics. So definitely check out his Instagram. Um, and you can read those so you can get a nice bite, a good sized chunk of comics to read from him, and then decide if you want to go further with it. So Empyrean Vol, also known as Peter, says gouache is fun. Just followed Daniels on IG. Awesome. So yeah, totally. Facundo Ezekiel, what's up? You got people watching in Argentina too. Okay, cool. Thanks for coming in from Argentina. Glad to see you here. Gary says Jim Lujan is very good at developing both his story and art side by side. Alas, my brain doesn't work that way. I have to plan a lot and focus on specific pieces. I mean, everybody's got a different process. Like I was just talking to a friend today, and I was saying you know, um, like some people have very complex processes, some people have very simple processes, and I think that no two creators does it the same. Like, and that sounds really cheesy, but it is true. You kind of have to come up with your own techniques to a certain degree. Like, you can follow, like, say Dan Harmon's, story circle, and that can be a guidepost, something to help you, or like when I was talking to Gary, we were talking about Joseph Campbell's you know Journey of a Thousand Faces, I think it's called, that book, and all these different books. There's I think it's Robert McKee's story. Like that's a tough one to do. That book's a little bit tough because he's a little dogmatic about his ideas and stuff, but there's definitely a lot to pull from that. There's a lot of great books that can help you along, but when it comes down to it, you got to figure out your own process and go with the grace of God, basically. um Vlad, Mike Vlad here, he was talking about some stuff on his Instagram of how he does it, and it's a very kind of loose way of doing it, and that there's nothing wrong with that too. That's valid as well. So Vlad says, I almost didn't click because I thought I was late to the party, but I made it. Always nice to listen to podcasts like this while making comics, right? I totally agree. Especially when it's a friend. Yes, for sure. Um, so, all right. So I wanted to get into, like, I bought a bunch of comics recently, like, because I told you guys, like, I wanted comics with better writing because I just want, like, reading Gary Hodges, Mars, Dinosaurs versus Mars Bots, which actually Michael Vlad has in his possession right now, because I wanted to share this awesome story, and also Ed Gein Demon Hunter he has, because I wanted to share this awesome story with others, because both of them, reading those two books has like made me get like a taste for what is possible in comics, because those to me are very great examples of really good stories. um so I put the word out there to people, like, please tell me what are the good comics, and I made a list, and I need to make that list into a digital list, so that I can share it with people. But I made a list of some stuff, and I got some of those things. So this is basically what's on my reading to-do list, and for now, and I haven't gotten everything that everybody said. I'm not, rich or anything. And I also have a bunch of like collage types, like other books that are more for like collage and reference and stuff that I wanted to share, that my mom actually with was showing me. And like I've been getting into collage lately, so, and I want to incorporate that kind of thing into my comics as well. But anyways, this is 100 bullets. Got this, and I just got a lot of stuff, and it's not like I got it just now, but I got this stuff because within the last few weeks, but I haven't done a video like this where I could actually go through some of the stuff I got. But this is like really, like, the art is amazing. Um, you know, this guy, Eduardo Riso, is actually the artist, the writer Brian Azzarello, and then Eduardo Riso. Um, so Ed Gein Demon Hunter, the guy who draws that, his name is Christian Rossi. He was a student, basically, like Eduardo Riso was like his mentor or whatever. So that's how he learned what he learned, and a big part of his progression. So it's kind of interesting because I'm talking about that. So my buddy has that comic by with the art by Christian Rossi, and you could tell, like, by looking at this art, that yeah, I can see similarities between this and Christian's work as well, for sure. It's kind of got that you know uh why can't Magnolia type of vibe to it, to a certain degree, and other things too. I see like Love and Rockets in here or something, and just different stuff. But again, like, we're talking about like the keys, like body language, composition, clarity. Like, I don't know about clarity because I haven't read this one yet. I'm looking forward to it, but there's definitely a lot of body language going on. Great acting. Like, you can see, these things look dramatic. You can see emotions and stuff on their faces. Um, you know, and there's a lot of it throughout the whole thing. There's a lot of interesting angles. They're taking some of the very, very, like, just people playing basketball, and they're making it very dramatic. And also the way the panels are laid out, like, you could tell this is like more active scene. So it kind of starts with the establishing, and then you go boom, 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 boom. So it's like there's you could tell there's quick paced things going on, and then whatever just happened, there's also some discourse throughout, and this, it's like there's action, but there's also story being told at the same time. You see, like, these two people are like facing off and stuff. Like, there's a whole lot of interesting storytelling going on, and I haven't even read this yet, and I can already tell it's got some really awesome stuff. So I don't want to spoil anything because I don't even know what this is about yet, but so I'll kind of close it there. But yeah, there's 100 bullets. I'm looking forward to reading that. Another bullet themed comic book, David Lapham. This is something I'm looking forward to reading soon. And again, this one's interesting because it's got almost the same panel layout throughout the whole book, this 8-panel grid here. Um, and it's more about just staying with this rhythm. Rhythm is kind of a big part of comics as well. And obviously we read left to right, so it's like boom, doom, doom, doom. It's a very even, rhythm, but the storytelling is being told with what looks like clarity to me. Um, Again, with the acting, with the body language, and the composition is more focused on each individual panel. And you can see a lot of these composition techniques, like people use the L technique a lot. So you see, like, this is where your eye goes. You got the side of the car and this guy, and then there's like this gap right here where you're also focusing on that. So there's a lot of things where here's another like L shape. There's a lot of L shape things in a lot of compositions. It has to do with like the golden ratio, or the I think they call it like the rule of thirds or whatever, where you divide a panel up into 9, a section of 9. It's hard to like demonstrate. I guess I could kind of demonstrate it with my notes here. So say we take that panel shape, um, and this is about what that panel shape is, and then you divide it up into thirds this way and divide it up into thirds this way. And you never really want, unless you're doing a specific, in your face shot, you usually don't want to put anything super important right in that middle area. And it doesn't have to be perfectly within these realms or anything, but a lot of times you'll have like the interesting stuff, or the eye will kind of flow around here, and you want to kind of keep your points of interest more like on around these corners usually. So there's a lot more to be said, for the rule of thirds. I'm just kind of showing a simple thing of that. But like you can see right here, we got right in the middle. Like this is a part of the story where it makes sense to go right in the middle. But again, here you got stuff a little bit more on the side, not right in your face. Again, here it's sort of in the middle, but it's kind of more not in the middle. So I don't know. That's just one of the things that people talk about with composition, and you can kind of see a lot of that throughout here. Also with the blacks, like guiding your eye with contrast. Like this is obviously the point of interest. This face, and there's white and black, bam, and it's easy to kind of do with black, but really this third of the panel is more on the white side, and this 2/3 of the panel is more on the dark side. There's just so many different things you can do with storytelling, and with the way you compose a panel. That's really can help the clarity, can help tell the story, can also just make it a pleasing thing to read and look at. So yeah, Stray Bullets. I'm looking forward to reading that. Gary Hodges had recommended this one to me, and I actually just started reading like the foreword and even the first page, but I was like, nope, I was a little bit in a rushed vibe, and I don't want to rush it. Like when I read a comic, especially if I know it has a chance to be a really good comic, I want to take my time to just soak it in and enjoy it. So, this is a comic about war, and but it's almost told like the art actually reminds me of a lot of almost like Von Bodie or his son Mark Bodie, who does more kind of cartoony stuff, or even like maybe a little bit of what's his name, one of my favorite artists, James Stokoe, reminds me of that. So it's almost like a little bit of a cartoony thing, but it's on very serious topics. Obviously, it's on war, and there's great composition, panel layout. It's kind of funny because in the first few in the first part of it, there's some really creative panel layout where eventually he leans into the artist, which I don't know if I'll be able to pronounce or not. Jacques Tardy. Oh, that's not even that hard. Jacques Tardy. He's a French creator, and this is translated into English. But he eventually ends up doing, and these are like short stories, a more similar layout. So in this one, he does like these landscape three panels per page, and that's how I think the rest of the book goes. And it's interesting what you can do with mixing up panels, but also with just a set panel layout. And there's a lot of artists who use a specific kind of grid. I think if I remember correctly, Gary, you were doing a lot of 9-panel grids in yours, or was it might have been 8? I can't remember. But there's some interesting things when if you plan to stick to a specific grid. I mean, look at this. This is some great stuff, but you can kind of maximize your ability to tell the story because you're kind of used to telling it within that, format. and stuff. So, anyways, yeah, this is like some really cool stuff. Like art wise, I'm so digging it. I can't wait to read the actual stories and stuff. So, looking forward to that one. These are ones I already showed, but I got Shiver recently, and I've read only like one story so far, but I'm looking forward to reading more of that. That's my first Junji Ito. This is just something that I just randomly saw at a store, and I never heard of this before. This particular Hulk story by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale, but I don't know. It looks cool to me, and it looks like it's a little bit of a different take on Hulk. So this is more your typical superhero stuff, which isn't really what I'm trying to get into. But I think this, from what I remember, like I think this is meant to kind of harken back to the way Kirby originally kind of envisioned the Hulk. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that, and it's more of like almost like a Frankenstein type story, which is interesting because the idea I have for a comic story has a similar vibe. Um, but I won't probably get into that too much. I Kill Giants. You guys saw a bunch of this last week if you watched the video, but you know, um, Corey Kerr and myself, we dug into this one, and again, really good storytelling for the most part. But you'll see actually if you watch the video, one of the complaints we had was some of the clarity of story. This is a really good story. It's definitely something that will hit you emotionally, but there are parts of it that I feel like could have been told a little bit better. But it's kind of nitpicky stuff for the most part. I mean, I haven't ever made a comic anywhere near as good as this. So, for the most part, it's a really good story and definitely an emotional hit. Two stories by Joshua Kimball, who often comes and watches the show. Um, I haven't actually. I've only read like I used to read this when it was being serialized on his website like way long time ago, back even when he was doing illustration party time, I think, or maybe it wasn't that far back, but he's been working on this for a long time. This is the first half of two of a full story that from what I understand, and he's still working on the second half. But I mean, Joshua, this is one I want to finish. I want to read, so that it's in my pile. But Josh, like he takes the time to like really, like I know he's a big fan of like people like Chris Ware and Daniel Klaus and things like that, and he really takes the time to just put his vision on the page, and he does a lot of interesting stuff with layout and style, and he's really like putting everything into this story. And yeah, I think like you can see in this one, he's doing more of a cartoony style. So visually, I mean, he's telling an interesting. He loves messing with type and doing some interesting things with type. So definitely check out Joshua Kimball's stuff. He's got a great YouTube channel where he talks about stuff that he does, and yeah, good buddy of the show, and I definitely recommend his work. I need to read this bad boy soon. um, I just kind of show this when I go. Sometimes I go to like this Polish store, and this is a Polish like magazine, but I love like this illustrator does the illustrations for it. It's like a detective like crime story magazine, and I just love like these little drawings that are everywhere throughout. It's not a comic book, but I can't get enough of it, and I love like the limited palette of color as well. Pretty much reds and pink skin tones and black and white. So just something I enjoy. I won't go through everything. I just wanted to kind of share this with you guys. Cartoony stuff, sweeping stuff under the rug, skulls. Definitely some like metaphorical things going on. Some cool stuff. So, anyways, just wanted to share that I can't even read that, so that's not really in my reading pile, but it is because it just happens to be. Why the Last Man? A lot of people were saying Brian K. Vaughan, you know, and this book is good, and I found this for like really cheap actually. It was like on clearance or whatever. So this is the first volume, the first small volume. So I figure let's do it. A lot of people are saying it's really good. So um, I heard a friend of mine say that he almost feels like color distracts from story. I don't think so much in this one because the color is pretty subdued. It's not too crazy. Um, but there is something to that. Color distracts from story, or and I think color done well is good and really helpful in story, to be honest. But I can see how there is like a love that I've gained for black and white comics that I didn't used to have. And so, like I said, in this one, it feels like the color's done really well, but um, you know, I could definitely see sometimes color gets a little bit too crazy. But one thing to note with color when you're doing color is you really want to focus on values, on having a good solid value structure. So, again, mid tones, a really dark and a really light, keep it to 3 or 4. Like, not that you have to like fully, like, you can render stuff, but like, you know, try to make those distinctions of like 3 or 4 tones like really distinct. Um, They don't have to be like exactly. And this one, I don't know if this is a good book to read or not, but like I just saw this guy online on Instagram, and I had to get his book. And then this is somewhere where like the color is kind of crazy and the art is kind of crazy. But again, if you can tell us, if you like focus on clarity, composition, and body language, especially, or if there's other elements that can really be good too. Even with a very like um, rough around the edges style, which I would describe this kind of as, uh, you can still do some really cool things. And this is just, I don't know, I just really like what I see on his Instagram, and I was like, I need to read something that he's made. And I think he's using color in a very interesting way. It's not, it is a relatively limited color palette. Like he's staying in a certain range, certain color palette. So yeah, this guy is, what's his name? Let's see if you want to look him up on Instagram. Oh, where is his name? You gotta put your name. That's one thing too, like with people trying to like promote their stuff, like put your name right up front. Make sure your website is in the play wherever the place is where you can put links and stuff. Oh, here we go. Tony McMillan is his name. And he's got like an Etsy shop where he sells this stuff. Tony McMillan. So yeah, check it out if you're digging this. I don't. This was like a random recommend. Like not many people recommended this, but I saw it, so I was like, and it was cheap enough, so I was like, let me just grab it. And then, again, color done well. Like this, whoever is doing the color in this is doing an amazing job. And there's a lot of colors, but they're creating moods with color, and that's important. So I don't know. I personally like color, and I think it can lend it a lot to the story, actually. Um, but I can also see the point where sometimes it's more of a distraction than anything. Actually, like crazy art is more of a distraction than anything. I think even Jack Kirby had some comments about that when he started seeing basically what the image guys were doing. This is just a random book. Again, it was like on clearance that I found. Fantagraphics book. I think it was like for $10 or something. Ghostwriter. I've never heard of it. Never heard of these creators, but the premise sounds interesting, and it's an interesting, like, kind of simplified style, very graphic, using the black and whites, and it just looks like an interesting, quirky kind of murder mystery type of story. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. So yeah. There's another one that I got for cheap, and it's from Black Mask. 4 kids walk into a bank. I've never heard of this in my life. But again, it just sounds like an interesting premise. So we shall see. I'll be looking forward to reading this one as well. So yeah, there's that. We'll get back to the chat, and then I'll show off a few other things. These are, check these out. My mom got these. Like she's been getting into art and stuff, but she just saw these online and she had to get them, and it's just so silly. But like, it's for like when you're rubbing against the paper so you don't smudge or something, your oils don't get into it. But it's hander pants, so it looks like underwear. I don't know. I don't know that I'll ever use these, but I think they're kind of awesome at the same time. So it's hard to get on and off, though. They're a little bit small for me. So anyways, I had to show that off. Let's get into some of the comments real quick. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Let's see. We got My Voice. Jimmy Page said he had a collection of riffs to pull from. Maybe writers can do the same. Maybe jot down a description of something you come across. The faucet is dripping, but it's still too damn loud. Cool. I mean, yeah, like I think that one thing I've been learning with the painting and stuff is like there's this dude named Anders Zorn, and he's known for they call it the Zorn palette, and it's basically this red kind of color, this yellow color, and I think he just uses white with that, and that's all he used in most of his paintings. And he's a very well-known painter, and he gets so much depth just out of those 3 colors, so much range. And I'm definitely not there yet, but I want to play with limited palettes and stuff. And I think, yeah, the same can be said for music. You can use, work with a certain set of chords and probably come up with a lot of cool stuff. So yeah. Mr. Vic, what was the IG of Danielle? It was like Doghouse 056 or something like that. You might have to rewind the video because, let's see. Yeah, Doghouse, 059. So, yeah. Oh, somebody put it in there. Cool. Nice. So, we got Vlad, Stray Bullets is an all-time great. Awesome. Yeah, I got a lot of recommends for that. Let's see. Lapham is great, and Riso is one heck of an Argentinian talent. Oh, okay. I didn't know that he's from Argentina. But that's awesome. Stray Bullets is an all-time great. I'm pulling from Lapham with what I'm doing now a little bit. Oh, interesting. Well, panel layout. Okay. That's cool. That's awesome. Yes. Awesome storytelling. Totally. Let's see what else. Talking about greats, Tardy is one of my favorites. Yeah, I mean, I've heard now. I never knew about him, but until Gary Hodges told me about him. So I'm looking forward to checking out whatever else he's got going on once I read this. Oh yes, I hope you enjoy the Tardy book. Yes, I can't wait. Can't wait. That's like on one of my next ones I really want to read. Oh, I guess I should tell you, Gary Hodges, this I didn't realize, like, I don't have any old G.I. Joe comics. Some of them I did, but that was another thing you recommended. I don't really have any. I used to have some when I was a kid, but I don't even know if I read them. This was like before I even really got into comics. But I didn't realize that I have this bad boy right here. And this, if you can't tell, this is not the real comic. This is the Marvel Treasury Edition. So it's huge. If you guys, let me see like an actual real size, typical size comic. I know I got one plenty laying around. Here we go. This is the only one I have specifically laying around. But this is, New Gods #8 by Jack Kirby, and not so great condition, but I don't care about condition. And, that's how much bigger Treasury is if you don't know. Maybe it's better to put it on its side. This is a typical size comic. And yeah, so that's another one I'm looking forward to reading very soonly. But I'd like to read all the stories, within that first original run. But it's so cool, in such a large format, So yeah, pretty cool stuff. There's like this cool like diagram type thing in the middle somewhere. This is cool pages. Trying to see if I can find that part. Where is it? Right here. This is neat. Seeing it real big, like I guess the G.I. Joe Command Center underground, pretty cool. Love that kind of stuff. So yeah, I forgot that I had that, I didn't read it before. DV versus M favors 6-panel. Okay, so it was 6-panel, 2 wide by 3 high. That's right. I knew it was something. Yes, I personally am not a fan of getting too fancy or clever with the panels. Like you say, I think if you favor a basic set of rules, it allows you to explore that space better. Yeah, totally. You actually said it better than I said it, I think. Tim Sale was excellent. All right. Let's see what else. I read Y the Last Man because everyone was praising it, but I don't think it was worth it. Well, I got the first one. It's a long series. If I'm not impressed with the first one, I won't continue. But we'll see. We'll see. Like you said, a lot of people praise it. Maybe it's good. I don't know. I'll take black and white over color any day personally. I agree with color being a distraction, with exceptions, of course. Cool. Yeah, I know you're a big fan of black and white. I definitely am too. See, then you show Tony being a badass, and I want to eat my word. Hey, it is what it is. Again, there's exceptions to all these rules. Bergera is such a spectacular artist. His black and white page are beautiful for Coda. Okay, cool. I'm looking forward to checking that one out. I really like the art. I see some Crosby originals on the screen. Yes, you know who it is. Yeah, I just want to talk about that quickly, and then I'm going to get into some other books. Does anyone else here have an artist IG page to follow? Oh, I'm sure people do. It looks like people are showing theirs. All right, so I'll get into this just real quick because, I just wanted to get into this because there's because I'm getting into gouache, and my buddy Eddie Crosby does gouache paintings and acrylic and kind of mixed media. Like this has some ink in it, and like ballpoint pen ink. He thinks of these, I think, as like sketches, but to me these are like some of my favorite art I've ever seen. Like literally, I love his stuff. And he just sent me a bunch of his art one day with also some fan art of my Glyph comic, which is freaking awesome. So I just wanted to share these with you guys. This is a big part of the inspiration for me wanting to get into gouache, and it probably doesn't do it justice on screen because my coloring is always off, but these are very vibrantly colored. Again, check out Crosby Eddie. I'll bring up his Instagram because he's another one that's like you want to follow his Instagram. Here we go. You can see right here Eddie Crosby, but it's the actual, it's Crosby Eddie. You can see up at the top. You definitely want to check it out if you like what you're seeing here. And he does like these processes of his artwork, and he does a lot of like kind of pencil and pen sketches and stuff too, and they're just amazing. So here's some of his original art. He just sent it to me one day. This was many years ago, but pretty awesome stuff. And I was like, holy cow, I can't. I told him I wanted to buy him, but I think he just gave them to me for free. I don't know if he ended up letting me give him money or not. I think I even have some more of these too. I think there's at least one or two more, but I could be wrong. I don't know. But because I was so surprised he sent these to me, and this was the actual fan art he did of my character Glyph, and it's just like so freaking cool, so amazing. So I don't know. To me, uh, if I had money, I would hire this guy to do so much art. It's insane. Um, and then this is Ted Secco, my buddy Ted Secco, and he sends a lot of art when he like sends comics. He'll always send like some art too, and he actually works on uh SpongeBob SquarePants. He's like one of the animators on that show or whatever. He probably just does, I don't think he's like one of the main necessarily ones, but he does these awesome comics, and just look at this energy. Like he's just doing like Sharpie drawings or like colored pencil drawings and stuff, and they seem very simple and basic, but he's got like a Kirby-esque design to his work and power in his work, and it's just I just love his stuff. It's insane. And he's kind of this enigma. Like he doesn't really do social media too much. I got to know him through he had like podcasts back in the day. Sometimes I think he still puts out a podcast once in a while. I don't know, with his buddy Javier Hernandez, who you may have heard because he's very prolific and out there. Um, so I'm gonna get into some of these other books in a minute, but let's see. Yeah, people are shouting out their IGs. Awesome, do that. Yeah, definitely follow Rabbit Fighter 13, also known as Imperium Vol, also known as Peter Seckler, because this dude puts out comic book pages like nobody else you've ever seen. Like I have many of his comics on my shelf. Like I think last he told me he was over like 300 something pages in the last few years or something. He's like putting work in like no other I've ever seen. So yeah, definitely check his stuff out. Let's see. Daniel Goodwin says, I love G.I. Joe. I have 75 of the first 100. Nice. From when I was a kid. Decided I was going to try to find the missing 25. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to start collecting them as well. Whenever I can see them in the wild, if I can find some low grade cheapos, which is hard to find, um, I'll grab them. But yeah, I'm hoping they put out a collection that I can read, that's cheaper, like the first 25 issues or something or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, I want to read them, but they're cost prohibitive, unfortunately. Let's see. Empyrean Vol. I'm at 762 comic pages since 2019 on the quest to 1,000. I mean, he's killing it, guys. Like, you gotta follow this dude. Oh my gosh, like seriously. And since Mike's here, let me get Mike's Instagram in there too. Let's see. Uh, do 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 do. You'll want to follow him. He does some really cool stuff. And his girlfriend also is a painter, and she does some really good stuff. So I'll try to show both. Why can't I find it? I see your stuff like every day. Do do do. It's like one of the first ones that always comes up. Come on, where are you? How is it not coming up? Let's see. Here he is. Okay. Vlad Cartoonist. Check out his stuff. Let's see. Vlad underscore cartoonist. Check that out. And then also check out Ivory Bunny. The Ivory Bunny. She does some awesome paintings. and she's just an awesome person and does great work. And she's had three, I think, three of her works in the back of Red Room comics. This is one of them. So yeah, they're kicking butt. Those two, that couple is like a crazy, like just artistic couple right there. So check their stuff out. So these are just books, like some of them my mom gave me, and some of them I just found at like Goodwill because I went there with my mom, and she's been getting into collage. And for me, I like these books, but they're also for like reference and stuff. This one just has I want to do some more like black and white collages and stuff. So this one's like the Dark Ages. This is more words and stuff, but there's some pretty cool artwork and or like sculptures and just text and just weird like cool imagery, like old school like architecture and just different things um in here. So I don't know, just something that I might make some stuff out of. Living. This is the type of stuff like if Dede were here, like this is what I'd love to show her. And she'll probably watch on the replay because she usually does if she doesn't make it. This is cool. Like, look at this, like some kind of bug or butterfly, but it's got like see-through wings. That's pretty amazing. Like, just this stuff is great for reference and stuff too. Like, especially animals and stuff. Like, you could draw these different nature things, animals, whatever, and come up with some crazy monsters and stuff based off of just what you draw and stuff, and learning how to draw forms and different kind of weird animals and stuff. So this one's just a Time magazine with really cool imagery and all that. So just so many cool images here that I want to like try and draw, or I could try to paint, learn, observational drawing. It all helps for the greater cause of making comics. So yeah. And also just different illustration books. This one's like a kid's storybook. Um, and it's just got again, kind of similar to that magazine, the Polish magazine I was showing you guys. Very limited color palettes. There's a few different artists in here. Probably like a good 10 or 15 different artists maybe. And they just illustrate, these stories for kids. And there's a ton of imagery in here. And I kind of want to read the stories too. Like some of them I've never read. Like this one, I love this illustration. It's just like the Odyssey. I think this one's the Odyssey or something, or part of the Odyssey story. So, just different stuff. I love this stuff. It's all inspirational to me. And this is very similar to comic type of artwork as well. So it's like very informative to, comic book type of stuff. So yeah, I don't know. Really cool stuff. I want to read this one, The Lion Makers. I never even heard of that story, but it sounds interesting. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. I'm sure probably a lot of that, if not all of it, is in the public domain. Saw this at everybody knows about this stuff. Understanding Comics, Scott McCloud. I already have a copy of this, but I couldn't remember if I had this and Making Comics by Scott McCloud, or if I just had Making Comics. But I was like, for like $1 or $2 at Goodwill, like I gotta pick it up. I can give it to somebody if I already have it anyways. So yeah, I don't know. Good find. My mom actually got me this one, this like old children's book, and it's pretty cool. I love it. I love this. Anything old like this is cool, and these children illustration stuff. So, cool stuff. Creative lettering, again, this is more like for collage type stuff. Like you could kind of grab some of this imagery and use it, or just get ideas for lettering things, just another interesting something. I mean, lettering for comics, maybe there's some odd idea in here you would have never thought of to try, for lettering in comics. So yeah, just again, just reference material. This is just all about the history of flight. The Smithsonian book. They have like lots of great pictures and stuff. They got stuff from like the Wright brothers, obviously, you know, um, and just historical stuff, modern stuff, paintings and stuff. I don't know, just interesting imagery. So, oh, this is actually a painting I saw recently. So, yeah, mechanical kind of reference, whatever. Like you can go and search on Google for like reference material and stuff to draw from or stuff to learn drawing from. But there's nothing like some of these old books and stuff because you won't be able to find these kind of pictures. That sometimes there's better stuff. And this is a good find too. This thing is a thick, big book. And this is like literally anything you would ever want to see for anatomy. It's like got every detail of all the inside, the bones, the muscles, like it's got everything in test like inner organs and stuff like, and it tells you what everything is, and I'm just like, I don't know, man, this could come in useful, that's for sure. Like I was like, for a couple dollars or whatever, why not have this book handy whenever I need it? I can use it. So yeah, bones, ligaments, like, geez, it's just insane. I'm not done yet. That's the end of that pile, but I got more. So some of the best stuff is going to be last, actually. And this is, I'll grab this because this was part of what I was talking about. And then I got like one more book that I'll save for last. Oh, this I don't have to show, but I showed you guys this one with all the old school labels before. It's a really cool book that I just found at an old bookshop. Label art. I don't know. It's kind of a weird book that it's kind of odd. And then this is just like some Art Nouveau stuff. I want to get it more into Art Nouveau stuff. I love the design, and it's just something I want to incorporate into comics. Um, and this is just a book I got for like my beloved Eurorack synthesizer stuff. And I just realized, oh, this one's got like a lot of cool pictures in it and stuff too, of just like equipment, mechanical stuff, but also there's like some interesting ones of like musicians and stuff in here, and mostly it's like modules and stuff, diagrams, but I don't know. There's some cool stuff in here. I'm not coming up on any of the pictures with actual people in it for some reason, but anyways, that's a cool book. This one again, it's this Katharine Hepburn People magazine thing, and it's all like these classic old school pictures, and just a lot of stuff where I could study the values and stuff, and try to get good at values, and just so many cool film pictures that you may or may not be able to find online. These are really cool. These like painted magazines with her on it. There's a part where there's like these like the painted like like posters, like movie posters and stuff. That's really cool too. There was a page in there somewhere of that. So I mean, I'm not necessarily I don't know if I'm a fan of Katharine Hepburn. I'm sure like, but I don't really know her stuff too much. I know that she's like super famous, obviously. Um, but I'm curious to watch some more movies with her in it for sure. So yeah, that kind of reference doesn't hurt. This is actually stuff for people's collages. Like it's a book of like, I think kind of public domain imagery or something, old like vintage type imagery that's meant to be used for collage. So I don't know, just one of these weird books that you might come across. There's some interesting stuff here. So pretty cool. not the best thing in the world, but something that could be useful. Um, a history of great inventions. This just again has some really cool imagery in it. Again, mechanical stuff, whatever, ancient civilization type stuff. It's just, yeah, amazing reference material. And if you want to read about the stuff too, of course, that's another awesome thing. So, I mean, look at this. This right here, like that would take. This is something Vlad would try to draw. Probably he likes to do like detailed stuff. And look at the shadows and stuff, though. Like that is a really cool picture. I kind of want to mess with that. I like that. That's a really cool composition. Photographic composition, weapons and stuff, all kinds of different things, industrial stuff. Yeah, cool stuff. And then last but not least, my mom found this book, I think, and she gave it to me, and I think it's freaking cool. And apparently, there's many of these. This is a big book. It's thick, American illustration, and I guess they have a like a competition every year or something, and it's called just American Illustration or something. And this is just it just shows like all the people who are, I guess, won the competition or what, but they're like, these are modern illustrators, and it's just such great inspiration, really. It's like Instagram but like on crack. And you don't have to be scrolling on some social media thing that shows you half all these ads and things you don't want to see. So I got stuff bookmarked, but I'm just kind of going through the beginning here a little bit. There's some really cool stuff. And it's just and they're actually not that expensive. I looked up these books and I don't know, I forget what number on them. This is number 32, but they're all numbered, and each year there's just like a big thick book of freaking amazing illustrations. Um and some of them you can get them for like 14 bucks. Some of them are more expensive and some are less. So I just thought this was amazing. Like I like this painting just because I don't know. There's some interesting stuff. Not the subject matter. I'm not super excited about necessarily, but and I love this kind of style too. Again, with the limited color palette and line work. I love line work and just all kinds of interesting illustration concepts and ways to kind of go about it. So yeah, I bookmarked some things. Like this was a really cool illustration, and it tells like in the back it gives you like the website, everybody's like maybe social media and website stuff. So if you see something, you can find out more about that artist and stuff. So that's cool. Um, yeah, I don't know. This stuff was like some comic type stuff here, and this like maze, just interesting things. Um, these I thought were interesting, words and pictures type of thing. So yeah, I don't know, a lot of cool stuff. This might be a little quote unquote triggering, but somebody drawing comics, and you can see what else is going on. Asaf Hanukkah, I guess, is the name of this person. So there you go. Yeah, some cool stuff here. I thought this was really interesting. I'm curious to see more of that person's work. Roman Klonek, I guess. I don't know. Here, if you want to see Roman Klonek, hopefully you can see that. Yeah. Somebody diving into the subway train. I thought these were really cool. Kind of colored pencil type of stuff. People using different mediums. And I mean, it's so similar. Like there's a lot of stuff that you might not have thought of to maybe use in your comic, like cool ideas. This is really interesting. I don't know what's going on here, but Zohar Lazar. There's some funny, interesting names going on here, but I don't know. They're from all over the world, I guess. Really cool artwork, though. That's for sure. Yeah, I don't know. This stuff's really cool. Here's another one. Victo Nagai or something. You know, it's really interesting stuff. Some more from that artist. This Superman thing. Christoph Niemann. So interesting little concepts. They're using like pencil shavings for hair. So yeah. I mean, whoever thought to use pencil shavings? That guy did. Some of this stuff you can tell is for like commercial illustration, but they put it into the book because it was so good. So lots of cool stuff here. Some more of a limited like line style, interesting limited colors. Brian Rhea, something like that. So yeah, a lot of interesting stuff. It's just like never ending, you know. Like every page turn is something interesting. These are just ones that stood out to me. Juhi Yoon, I don't know how to say that, but pretty cool art. This looks like it's more like it's like printed stuff. I don't know. Like screen print stuff maybe. Some really crazy stuff. So yeah. Oh, and this you can see it shows like stuff about all these people and sometimes even has like their phone number and stuff. So I guess you can hire them. It's kind of weird that they just put that in the book, but I guess that's cool too. So yeah, cool stuff. So yeah, that is all of the stuff. Oh my gosh, that I've gotten in relatively recently. Oh, Dede's here too now. Okay, cool. So we're gonna get back to the chat here. Let's see. All right. Yeah, you've been killing it, dude. Yeah, totally he has. I wanted to ask that. Like, I thought it was she was your wife, but like, it's hard to remember like who's married and who's not sometimes. And sorry about that. My bad. I kind of thought like she's got to be definitely like basically like a wife if you aren't married, but you are married, so that's awesome. I mean, I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do, like in this world, is to visit you two. You guys freaking rock and are so inspirational whenever I see you around. So yeah. Let's see, Mr. Vic. Art Moves 66 is your Instagram. Oh, cool, awesome. Um, let's see, where's my? I think you're the only person so far that I've seen that I'm not following, or maybe I am, but I don't know it. Let's check it out. Make sure I follow you before things finish out here. Art Moves 66. Oh, there we go. Cool. So check it out. Art Moves 66. Follow it. Bam. And I'll be looking at your art. Awesome. I am a mark for anything ERB. Tarzan. I can't think of. I'm not sure I know what ERB stands for, but cool. And Dede is here. Thank you for the super chat. You rock, Dede. Sorry I couldn't make it tonight. Have company, but wanted to stop by to support. Hey, no problem. No problem. I showed a lot of books, Dede, so hopefully you watch the replay if you can, because I know you like books. Yes, love the book flips. Chat. We'll watch later. Cool. Awesome. Thank you for the support, Dede. You rock so much. Oberak, what's up? How you doing? Glad to see you in here. Um, let's see. You're not kidding. Reminds me of a library page in my old book keys. I'd have names on all of those damn books too. I know, right? You can't see the names in that photo though. But yeah, you'd have to put your own names. Let's see. Hey everyone, the bunny just got home from work on a mural all day, so I'm gonna pop out and take her for a walk to the park while the sun's still out. Awesome. I'm glad that you were here, Mike. It was awesome to see you. Catch up on the replay. Thanks for the shout outs anytime, man. And holy cow, Oberak, interesting reference material coming in with the super chat. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's crazy. Really appreciate the support. Um Zohar Lazar is great. Yeah, I mean, it looks great to me for sure. I am happy we hadn't left yet, and Gabby and I both heard that comment. You make us blush, sir. Love you, dude. Absolutely, man. Thanks for stopping in, and you guys rock. I'll have to watch this tomorrow. I'll watch this in the morning. Bye, everyone. Thanks for coming by, and thanks for the support, dude. You're awesome. So yeah, thank you everybody for watching, and I hope you guys got something from this. 3 keys to great comic book art: body language, composition, and clarity. There's so much to making something happen with this art, to making good stories and everything. But you know, some things I do feel like are a little bit more like have a little bit more impact. I don't there Everything's important, but some of the things I feel like have a little bit more impact, and you can get a lot of mileage by using having good body language, acting and stuff, by having good composition and having clarity of story, So hopefully this was helpful to everybody. Hopefully this was inspiring and interesting. Thank you everybody for hanging out. And I'll be back next Tuesday with some other stuff. We'll see what happens. All right. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time. Peace out, friends.